Good evening. It has come to my attention that the model of investments in children that we did in class on Wednesday has generated a bit of confusion. So the purpose of this presentation is to hopefully clear up that confusion. The root of the confusion seems to be that people believe the only way I can transfer to my children tomorrow is by investing in their human capital. But of course this is not true. Suppose that I am an altruistic parent, and I want to make both my children equally well off tomorrow, which means in my case that both of my children should have enough blood to drink tomorrow after I am no longer here on this earth. So one option would be I could stock up on blood today. I could take the resources I have, I could invest it, and tomorrow my children would have that amount I invest times 1 plus R, which is the return that they can get on saving blood, and they would have that amount of blood tomorrow. Here I've drawn a return function with some slope, 1 plus R. Let's say I have a total amount, call it I bar, that I could invest, and then there is that amount of blood my children would have tomorrow. For a moment, let's say I just have one child, even though you know I have many children. Well, here we see how much blood this one child will have tomorrow if I just save. But of course I don't have to just save. I can also invest in my child's human capital. Here I've drawn a nice positive diminishing marginal return function. I can train my children to hunt so that they have all the blood they need in the future. With diminishing marginal returns, how do I decide how much blood to give them? Well, I face this decision of do I save or do I invest in their human capital. Here I have that return function that is positive diminishing marginal returns for my child. And I can of course save and get back tomorrow 1 plus R, the interest rate, so that my marginal return is 1 plus R. So what do? Well, I invest in human capital so long as the marginal return is greater than 1 plus R. And once it is at 1 plus R, I stop investing in human capital and any remaining transfer comes through savings. So you can see here I have this amount I bar that I can either invest or save. Here I choose to invest the amount I star, which means that the amount of blood tomorrow my child gets from human capital is illustrated nicely in my favorite color red right here. And the rest, which I will do in a very hideous color blue, is the blood that they get as a result of my savings at the interest rate R, which gains a marginal return of 1 plus R. Now suppose I have 2 children. One of my children is very good at producing blood if I train it well. You can see its marginal return function here in the line A. The other child is a little bit slow and will not be very good at producing blood, and that is given by this return function B. So you can see my decision problem. If I invest optimally in child A, I will invest much more in child A because its marginal return is higher at each level of investment. How much do I invest in child A and child B? Well, given that I can always get blood tomorrow through savings, I'm going to invest in each child so that the marginal return on that investment is equal to the marginal cost of the investment, which is the money I give up by not saving blood for them, which is 1 plus R. So, child B gets very little investment in human capital. Child A gets much more investment in human capital, but they both in equilibrium will have the same marginal product. Now let's say the total amount of blood that I want each child to have is indicated here in the future. And remember, I care about them equally, so I want them to have the same amount to eat. So their future blood is right here, and you can see for child A, they get a lot of that transfer in human capital, and then a small amount from my savings. For child B, however, who I will mark in blue, They get only a little bit in human capital because they're not very good at hunting for blood, and most of it I have to produce today myself. I save for them, and then they get a much larger transfer. So in the end, even though I am perfectly altruistic, I love my 2 children equally, I invest much more in my high ability child and give much larger transfers to my low ability child.